I'm going to take you into a space which is prevalent to us in this country at this moment in time and ask you about one of our players
Yeah.
and what your take on the challenges that she appears to be having. Emma Raducanu was a breakout in a lot of people's minds because obviously in this country, whilst tennis is a massive sport, it becomes very massive in June and July
Yeah.
because of Wimbledon. And she's obviously had this remarkable achievement in terms of winning the US Open. Specifically remarkable because it doesn't seem that British tennis players win very much. And for her to have won, and I think also in the manner that she won, do you believe that she will win another Grand Slam? Because there's a lot of doubt now about what journey she's on and where she's going and the challenges that she's having.
You will probably not like my answer, but I hate to predict those things. And I really don't like people who talk about it because you don't know.
No.
Nobody knows. It's like those draw predictions. And, I'm like, every time I look at it, it's like, why do people do that? You're never right. Pretty much never right. For me, it's like, I've told you that story when we met, that when I met Emma on the WhatsApp,
yeah,
because her agent at the time reached out to my agent and said there's this young girl who wanted to ask you for some advice and talk to you. And I said, of course, no problem. It was COVID time. And we talked for, I think, about an hour. And she was telling me at that time she was having some injuries and she's, looking forward to come to the tour. And I don't remember what I said, but we talked and it was great. And I remember she sent me an email after that. And then 2021 Wimbledon, and I hear this name, Raducanu, Emma. And I was like, wait, hold on. Let me look back in my email. And I see that, I was like, oh my God, that was her. That was her.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And then she won the US Open.
Yeah.
What I've noticed at that time is like everybody were grabbing onto her like she's their friend and she's their, like somebody. I was like, you probably didn't know her like a month ago. Nobody knew her a month ago. But everyone's like, we're so happy. It felt so, I guess people were proud. Like in England, we're really proud of that. But it just felt like not kind of real,
Did you? I mean, McEnroe. I mean, I'm a big fan of John McEnroe's commentary. I was a big fan of him as a player. Yeah. And a big fan of his commentary, but he was very harsh about her in that Wimbledon that preceded her US Open win, where he talked about her struggling. I mean, he got made to look a fool later on because she wins the next slam.
Yeah.
But, he talked about the occasion was too much for her. Do you think that was wrong for someone of John's position to have said about another tennis player, or is it just fair comment?
I think it's neither, because you have no idea how the person feels.
Yeah.
I don't like to comment on what's happening with other people because I have no idea. Unless they told me how they feel, I have no reason to judge.
But you'll be able to see similarities. I mean, you're walking the same walk you've walked the walk that she's walked. And you've probably, without necessarily understanding the psyche of an individual, because she's unique in her own thinking, you'll be able to see things and understand things that the average journalist or fan wouldn't really understand.
Well, I will say, like, has I ever felt like the occasion is too big for me? No, it didn't, because the bigger occasion for me, even though I'm scared, because I'm scared on a lot of occasions of play, I'm nervous.
But you've had a panic attack in the
anxious.
middle of a game, though, haven't you?
I've had a few. And the thing about this is that the bigger the occasion was for me to go out and play, the more exciting it was in the same time, even though I was scared. Like, one thing about me that when we talk about pressure is that no matter how scared I am, a lot of people call me fearless, which is, fearless. I am fearful of a lot of things. But how I define my fearlessness is that no matter how scared I am,
you're gonna overcome it.
I'm gonna go for it. So that never happened to me. But when I hear people and they give their opinions and they maybe have not been in those situations, I love John McEnroe too.
Yeah.
But there was no social media when he was on tour,
No.
and there would be a lot of, I think there
Opinions
would be
on
a
him.
lot of
Yeah.
opinions
Well, there
on
was
a
a lot
lot
of
of
opinions on him,
things
yeah.
that has happened, and that's why I try not to judge people. For me, when Emma won US Open, that feeling of like everybody were like so ecstatic and so happy. Now that she's down, everybody's like on top of her.
Yeah.
I mean, those waves are crazy. And I remember I emailed her and I said, if you ever need advice and you're prepared for the new wave coming, she was very nice and replied to me.
She should do.
When you're in the moment, you don't realize how big, I don't think she realized how big she became, like how huge the moment was and how everybody wanted to be a part of that.
Because I was quite, as much as it's any of my damn business, I was quite cross with what happened to her post the US Open, because my default reaction when I was talking in the media, I have a great love of tennis, obviously a great love of football, and I have a great love of boxing, so I always get quite emotionally invested, and I try to be objective and pragmatic in my thinking. I hated seeing her at the Met Ball. I hated seeing her at all these different functions. And it felt to me like everybody that was going to sink their claws into her were there straight away. You're at the beginning of your journey, and all of this can come, and all of this distractions, because it's not going to help your tennis game. It's not going to help you keep focused. It's going to get everybody getting a piece of your soul and getting into your head and distracting you from the core propositions. And 2 years later, we see this prestigious talent, whether she can go on and win other slams or big tournaments, will be, as you say, to be seen, because she may get injuries that she can never overcome. She seems to be getting a lot of injuries at this moment in time. Where she's now quoting and saying, sometimes I think to myself, I wish I'd never won the US Open. I wish that didn't happen. That's kind of sad.
That's a good quote, I think.
Sad though, isn't it?
It is sad, but I think it's a very momentarily feeling, because if you ask her, okay, we'll take that away and you redo it again, I'm not sure she will agree with that. From what I can observe is you need to have from my experience, you need to have a very, very small circle.
Yeah. And a solid one.
Very, very solid one that really has your best interest.
And tells you the truth.
Truth is important. That's one thing that I would hope everybody who I worked with, I said, no bullshit, please. Like I don't tell me what I want to hear, because I hate that. I hate hypocrisy, and I hate two-faced people.
A lot of sports people don't know. They like a lot of people to tell them precisely what they want to hear.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, I don't think that's good for the character. I don't think that builds winners.
No.
I don't think that builds soul. I think having people around you that are lick-spittles and sycophants that are basically puffing smoke up your ass to make sure that they exist in your world doesn't help you in the longer game.
Yeah.
I want to talk...
I feel like guys have more of those than
possibly.
girls.
Yeah,
than girls.
possibly. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly.